Hey guys, what's up? It's me, the Gaming Spinosaurus, here with another video. Today, as the title suggests, I'm going to be reviewing Black Widow, the new MCU film that came out in cinemas, guys. I gotta go to a cinema again. It was such a liberating experience. Oh my god, I love cinemas. They're so much fun. But I digress. Let's get right onto the review. Black Widow is a good movie. I enjoyed my time watching it. It's a fun movie, but that's about it. It's nothing amazing, but it's by no means bad either. There are some really good things about the movie, the action and the characters, that really elevate the movie's quality. However, there are some bad and somewhat disappointing parts of the movie, the villain and the plot, that kind of drag the movie down in some parts. So today we're going to be discussing these separate parts of the movie and talking about what worked and what didn't. Spoilers for Black Widow from this point onwards. This movie's strongest point is definitely its characters. I really think the standouts are David Harbour as Red Guardian, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, and of course Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. The three of them have really good chemistry together and share some really good scenes. Yelena is a very cool character, similar to Black Widow in skills and fighting style, but with a distinct, different personality. And I'm very excited to see her in more MCU content, especially after the post-credit scene. Scarlett Johansson does a fantastic job in sadly, her last time playing Natasha Romanoff, and I really wish they had done more with her character before she was killed off in Endgame though. I really wish they'd done more with her. This movie probably should have come out before Endgame, but you know what, that's not a topic for discussion right now. We'll save that later. David Harbour is really fun as Red Guardian. You could feel that Harbour was having fun in the role, and this made him a joy to watch. As well, Dreykov, the Red Room leader, was a really interesting and really creepy character, you know. Not in the sense that he was like physically grotesque or horrifying, but just his actions, he was like a creep that I felt they could have done a lot more with. If he was given a larger role, he could have been a more genuinely menacing character. Melina was an okay character, she had some decent scenes, but I think she was the weakest of our four heroes. The worst character in this, and I'm sad to say this, is Taskmaster. The actress playing Taskmaster was really shafted by this role, as there are a lot of incredibly underutilised weight behind her character. Her father is a manipulative, creepy, controlling man, and has made his own daughter into an unstoppable killing machine who can mimic and learn people's fighting styles. And she has been ordered to hunt the woman who caused her a horrific, life-threatening accident and scarred her permanently. But not only that, her father has chemically engineered her brain to take away her free will and forcing her to do everything he says. That is some good shit. That is the making of a fantastic, conflicted villain. But what they came out with is something boring and underwhelming. Taskmaster's first fight against Natasha is expertly done and as peaks Taskmaster in this film goes downhill from there. So they don't really do anything with her for the rest of the film, apart from the decent chase scene and a mediocre action scene at the end where Taskmaster is defeated really anticlimactically. The whole fact that she can mimic everyone's fighting styles doesn't come into play at all. She gets beaten by Natasha easily. It's a mediocre fight scene. She is hyped up, Taskmaster that is hyped up as this incredible fighting genius, a perfect weapon, but then is defeated pretty easily. As well, earlier on she's outsmarted by Alexei and Melina, who trap her in the cell. And that would have been the end of her, which is disappointing. My frustration comes from the fact that Taskmaster is such a cool character, but completely wasted as a villain here. Completely wasted. In contrast to my disappointment with Taskmaster, where the movie peaks again is with the action. The action is well choreographed, feels fast paced, grounded, and overall quite enjoyable to watch. I think the biggest issue with the action is some of the cuts during the action, as it means you can't anchor yourself in the fight and the punching. This issue is the worst during the fight with Yelena and someone who I think is an ex-widow who has been broken out of brainwashing. Here the action is very much all over the place and very hard to anchor yourself in because there's a lot of cuts and flashes, energetic camera movement, and although it's, in the end a small action scene, it's where the film, it's where the action is at its worst, I'd say. And because it's like the first real big action scene, yeah, it is. It kind of worried me for a sec. But then this disorientating issue is fixed and is much less of an issue throughout the rest of the film. I don't know if that's because I got used to the energetic camera work or if it's because it was toned down. Another minor issue I have with the action is the pointless use of slow motion. It kind of just felt a bit silly and pointless, like they just threw it in there. Kind of took me out the action as well, which is a bit disappointing. But overall, bloody brilliant fighting choreography. It's very similar to Winter Soldier, which is a big thumbs up because I really like Winter Soldier. It's a great film. It's also reminiscent of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who also took, hints from the Winter Soldier. However, something I wasn't a big fan of is the plot. The plot is very basic. Stop the Red Room, blow it up, make sure Dreykov is dead, Basic plot, which isn't a bad thing. The plot of God of War is literally go to the highest peak, the 9 realms to spread your wife's ashes, and that game is one of my favourite games and arguably one of the best games of last generation, maybe even one of the best games ever made. I feel like the first 2 acts of this film are really solid. The opening little flashback is a bit confusing initially, but once you grasp it, it all makes sense. Then it cuts into this really smooth intro, which is like showing all the showing what happened in the Red Room, like all the training and the missions. It was really flashy and I really liked it. Then cuts to present day, which is in 2016 after Civil War. The plot goes along like that. But the third act is kind of weak. When they get into the Red Room, kind of goes really generic, which is a bad thing in this case. Whereas I feel the film was paced weirdly. Felt like it went by fast and not in a good way. Films go by fast. A lot of the time you check your watch when you go in, and then you think 10 minutes have gone by, you check your watch again, oh my god, an hour and a half of the film has gone by. It felt really weirdly paced. I can't put my finger on it, what the issue is. I can't put my finger on how to describe it. I can't find the correct words apart from just saying it was paced weirdly. And yes, the final act does have some strong scenes, but I feel like it tries to build stakes arbitrarily by just stating, oh, there are loads of widows, controlled from this here computer, also pheromones, so you can't attack me? That just was kind of weird. They felt like by stating there are loads of widows everywhere would raise the stakes. It's like the Rise of Skywalker effect. Look, thousands of ships with Death Star lasers. High stakes, right? It's a pet hate of mine, like a real annoyance of mine in films. I would have much preferred if it was more self-contained, didn't try and be this worldwide issue. It was just, let's take down the Red Room. All the widows are here. Let's do it. But I feel like the only reason that they went, look, there's widows everywhere, is set up for a TV show, Disney Plus TV show or film, hunting down all the widows. I also just feel like there was something missing from the plot. I can't put my finger on what it is, which, you know, the whole point of review, point out the good and the bad, but I feel like the plot is lacking something to make it just snap. It feels generic, it's lacking that, maybe it's lacking that, I can't think of the word, but I guess it just felt a bit lackluster, the plot, compared to a lot of other Marvel TV shows and movies. I think the biggest issue with this movie isn't actually in the movie, or the marketing, all that kind of stuff. It's when the movie was made and released. The movie should have come out ages ago. I'm not talking about the fact that COVID delayed it, but the movie shouldn't have come out Phase 4. This shouldn't be the first movie of Phase 4. This very much feels like an afterthought, because after Endgame, they kind of feel like, oh, we have to make a Black Widow movie now, because everyone's been calling for it, after she's dead. It felt like if this movie had been a Phase 3 movie before Endgame, or maybe even after Endgame, but before, you know, Far From Home, it would have had more weight. Natasha's death would have had more weight. It should have been earlier in Phase 3. Maybe around 2017, 2018, when the rest of the movies, you know, directly basing themselves off Civil War came out. Because not only does the movie feel like an afterthought, it's also not linked to anything that's going on in the MCU right now. It feels like this weird, you know, just this weird movie that's here. I enjoyed it. I want a Black Widow movie. Another movie that uses like Winter Soldier-esque hand-to-hand combat fight choreography. I'm in. You know, I like Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow as much as the next guy. Or person. But now, this should have been a Phase 3 movie. It kind of hurts itself not being a Phase 3 movie, because it means all this development is for nothing. Kind of. That's the issue with prequels. Now you could say that Captain Marvel last year, that was a prequel, but it had a point. It was setting up Captain Marvel's character for Endgame. And because she's probably going to be a big player in future movies, Natasha, she's dead. She's not going to be a big player in anything anymore. And I feel like you put this in, you make this like a 2018 movie, she goes through this development, you develop the character, then she's in Infinity War, then she's in Endgame, you know? Her weight in Endgame, you know, when she dies, that'll hold more weight, because you know more about her. You know more about her character. Because that's the one thing the MCU hasn't really utilised well, it's Black Widow. She's been in a lot of movies, but she's never really had the development. We've never really focused on her character. And now, the one movie where we do comes after she's dead and doesn't have that weight. It's disappointing. This should be a Phase 3 movie. So in conclusion, despite the fact the film feels like an afterthought and should have been a Phase 3 movie because it's completely unrelated to what's going on currently in Marvel, except the end credit scene, I enjoyed the film. It was fun, but nothing incredible or special. The characters are good, the action is good, but the villain and plot are lacking. Overall, I'd give this film a 7 out of 10. It's a good, fun movie, but it's nothing much more than that. So anyway, if you like the video, please do consider smashing like. Subscribe for more content, because it's the last episode of Loki next week, and y'all know I'm a drop a review of it, because Loki has been, because boy do I have a lot of things to talk about. But anyway, if you like the video, please do smash like. If you really like the video, consider subscribing, really helps the channel out. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload. I've been the Gaming Spinosaurus. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye now.